Okay, this video is a supplement to my previous video, which discussed the Star of Bethlehem and how it probably had to do with the planet Jupiter. Um, I don't want to reiterate all of that, but in that video we um, came to the conclusion that the Magi of at the time of Christ were probably watching celestial phenomena in the sky over a period of time, and that the what we now understand as what has been known as the Star of Bethlehem, we now should understand as is the planet, the wandering star Jupiter. There were several events in that sequence that the Magi would have been watching, and I wanted to kind of put them all out on the timeline. I think it helps see this better. But you need to see that first video to understand what I'm talking about here. But this is a supplement to it. We're trying to, of course, target the birthday of Jesus Christ. And it looks like the Magi started watching the sky August 12th, and August 12th of 3 BC was when Jupiter and Venus met in conjunction, those two planets, those two wandering stars. Recall that the Magi would have been watching these wandering stars and not understood them to be planets like we understand them. But just from standing on the Earth looking up, we can all recognize that these stars behave differently than the others. And so they watch this thing. And Jupiter's always been associated with kingship, kingliness. And Venus is always matronly. So Jupiter and Venus conjuncting on August 12th of 3 BC in and of itself wasn't anything spectacular, but when you look at the whole sequence, all the way down through here from August 12th to June 17th, bookended by two Jupiter and Venus conjunctions, the whole thing begins to have a meaning. And Jupiter, king, and Venus, mother, this is a sign that God, the king, is going to visit the mother, the human mother, Virgin Mary. And then he sends his angelic messenger, M, from Mercury, on the 31st of August of 3 BC. Mercury meets up with Venus in a conjunction, Mother, Virgin, Venus, signifying Mary, M here for Mercury, the planet, the wandering star that met Venus, signifying the angelic visitation of Gabriel to Mary. And that would have been possibly on August 31st of 3 BC. That's when they would have seen that conjunction. And then September 11th, I believe it signifies conception, because we looked at Revelation 12:1, and the woman was with child, and being with child would signify conception, not giving birth to child. That was a sign in the heavens. And on September 11th of 3 BC, there was that Virgo, the Virgin, the constellation, had the sun in the middle of her womb, just like Revelation 12:1 says. A woman clothed with the sun, and that was a sign in heaven. That's all. Clearly what Revelation 12:1 is talking about. The sign in the heaven was the Virgo, the Virgin, with the sun in her womb. Conception. September 11th, really 10th. September 10th to 11th of 3 BC. When you plug that in, when you plug that in between these two dates, really September 10th, but September 11th when you'd seen it in the morning. September 10th would have been the conception. Between those two dates, it's exactly 280 days. And when we get to this other one here, that's going to be the birth of Christ, as I've previously shown. But the interesting thing is that is a 280-day period, and a gestational period is defined as 40 weeks, which begins from conception and ends with labor, and that translates to 280 days, and it's exactly 280 days from September 10th through June 17th. I have September 11th because that's when you would have seen the constellation rise in the morning, but it's the previous night, September 10th, that conception would have taken place. 3 days later, on the 14th, you had Jupiter meeting up with Regulus, which was in Leo the Lion, on the 14th of September, the first time. And like every planet, uh, as we watch them go through the heavens, they go forward and backwards. And when they go backwards, it's called a retrograde motion. And Jupiter did it by February 17th. It turned around and came back with Regulus, and Regulus is the king star in Leo the Lion. It means king. So you got two kings. Jupiter, the king of kings, crowning Regulus, which would signify Christ, and elevating Christ in the same way, who shares nature with the Father, therefore, both making up God in the Trinity. So you have, but Jupiter the Father, Jupiter signifying the Father crowning the Son over the course of 3 crownings. And this is would correspond to the 3 trimesters. If we're talking about a gestational period, 3 trimesters of the pregnant Mary. And so Jupiter and Regulus, number 1, number 2, number 3. February 17th, number 2. May 8th, number 3. And they meet up every time. And then on June 17th, there's another spectacular, right on top of each other, conjunction of Jupiter and Venus again. Again, signifying pregnancy, conception, birth. And then I think that the Magi would have recognized what happened once they saw the whole sequence. And then from then, sometime in the fall, they would have packed up. They don't want to travel in the middle of the heat of summer. And they pack up and they keep following Jupiter. And Jupiter stops as they arrive in Bethlehem. And again, goes through another retrograde motion. It happens to stop its trek through the heavens on December 25th. And then it goes back the other direction. And so December 25th was when it stood still over the house. And then it moved on in its retrograde motion the other direction from then on. And then, of course, King Herod finds out that the Magi have left. They told him, well, we think it before they went to see Jesus, before they made it to his house, they had told Herod they saw these events starting maybe 18 months prior. Here we are in the end of 2 BC. You can see the years here, the end of 2 BC. But it was mid 3 BC when they saw it start. This whole event start. So I think that's when Herod said, well, okay, we've got to eliminate all the two-year-olds. So I catch everybody who was born during this time frame, all males, 2-year-old and younger, to catch them all. He starts killing them, and of course the angel tells Joseph in a dream to get his family, he, Mary, and Jesus make it to Egypt, and that very next week, I believe, you begin having the killing of the innocents by Herod the Great. And then you have this ominous eclipse, lunar eclipse on January 10th, just as Josephus said, indicating something bad for Herod, because he did something bad. He killed all those 2-year-olds. And then, so from January 10th onward, he began to get sick, and he died before Passover sometime in the spring here of 1 BC. According to Josephus, he died before Passover. It looks like all this is happening in 1 BC. Better than the previous idea of 4 BC for Herod's death. This makes more sense. And this whole sequence makes more sense. We're just using Josephus to determine the death of Herod. So when you take everything into account, we really need to adjust his death to springtime of 1 BC. Okay, so that's that kind of summarizes the timeline. And I have this website just so you can do the math between September 10th and June 17th. You'd do the math and you'd see it's 280 days exactly. Okay. I also wanted to show use of the program in real time. So I've got it so you can see it. This begins the sequence. -2. In my previous video I showed that if you can convert this to numerics, the year 0 is 1 BC. Well, the number 0, not the year 0, but the numerical number 0 is 1 BC. So -1 is 2 BC. -2 is 3 BC. So we're starting in 3 BC, looking from Baghdad or Babylon, but it's from the east, so that's close to where they would have been. Maybe Babylon or Persia, any of those places. So this they would have all seen this. So this is on August. This says 11th, but it's on Central Standard Time. Add roughly 8 to 9 hours to it, and you're in the 12th. By the time you add the 8 or 9 hours, you're about 3 in the morning. I think it turns out to 3. I got it at 1847, so it'd be 3:45 in the morning on the 12th. So this is basically August 12th of 3 BC, where this starts. And look, you can see Venus right on top of Jupiter. You can't see the difference there. I'm going to go forward in time. Now it's moving. You can see the background of stars aren't moving nearly as much as Jupiter's trekking through the heavens here. So these guys are watching this star, this wandering star, wander around. And look, lo and behold, on I'm just showing the nighttime here, so I'm not showing September 11th. But on September 11th, of course, that's when conception here on September 10th, and then September 11th. I could go back here if I wanted to, but right now I want to keep it at nighttime. September 11th, you had the sun clothing the woman in the morning, and that was corresponding with Revelation 12:1. I'm not going into that right now, but that's conception. Then on the 14th, you got that awesome conjunction of Jupiter and Regulus here in Leo the Lion for the tribe of Judah, conjuncting there. Now, go forward in time, you see it moving. Jupiter's moving down, going down. It's going to start coming back. Things are flipping also to the west. Going forward in time, now we're in December of 3 BC. Now we're in January of 2 BC. Now we're in almost February, and February 17th is where they conjunct again. Very close conjunction of Regulus and Jupiter. Again, a second conjunction. Now we're going to go forward in time. It goes below the horizon. It should start coming back up. I may have to change the time of night to see it, but let's get to May 8th. Let's go ahead and move this backwards here. There they are again, getting close on the May 3rd, May 8th-ish. Right in there. You've got this close conjunction there. Again, of Jupiter and Regulus. That was the third one. Let's go ahead and go on to June 17th. There's Jupiter again here. Let's follow him to June 17th. Now let's move the time a little bit so we can see it. Now look at that. You've got Jupiter right on top of Venus. Let's go backwards. See? Jupiter's approaching Venus, and wham, right on top of each other. They're in the middle of the night. So let's flip around. I just wanted you to see this. That's in the western sky, and over here in the easternish sky, if I can find the moon, there it is, a bright. On one side, you've got a bright full moon, so a lot of bright. This seems to be, to me, to be very bright. On the other side, you've got this bright conjunction of two of the brightest. Venus is brighter than Jupiter, but they're both very bright and they're on top of each other. I would imagine that would be very bright. And that's an announcement of something very important. And then we're going to go forward in time. And I'm not in Jerusalem here. They would have been in Jerusalem. I can make it Jerusalem if I want. I don't know if I'll have to make it for you to see it right. Let's basically they would have started going toward Jerusalem. So I'll show you how to find that here, if it'll let me and not freeze up on me. I think I've overworked it. There we go. Alright, let's go here to, let's see. Gotta watch what I'm doing here. Location window. Let's find Jerusalem here. It's the best way I know how to do it here. JE There we go. There we go. Okay, we're in Jerusalem now, down here. Now we're going to find Jupiter, make sure I've got it on Jupiter. That's how you could find it. There we go. Let's move up in time. Now let's keep on moving. We will go to, moving forward in time, now we're in November. So let's keep on moving. There's Jupiter. Now I wanted to show you this. He's sitting in the arm of Virgo the Virgin now. And we're getting to December 25th. The Magi are on their way. See my previous video. The Magi are on their way. They're moving toward Jerusalem. They come to Jerusalem. As they get toward Jerusalem, Jupiter's going through this. So here we are in November. It's going down the arm toward the shoulder. We're in December now, December 18th, December 25th. Christmas that we now know. Look how it's going backwards in time, going forward. Kind of stops around December 25th and starts going back the other direction. Down the arm again. Watch my date and time down there. Right at December 25th is when it has got hung up and turned around. I'm going backward in time, I'm going forward in time again. Look at it again one more time. Get hung up around the 25th. Come back. So it stood still on the 25th. And it's right on the 25th when that happens. So that really solidifies it to me. And then, of course, let's move forward. This is 0 again. Now we're in January. So let's go back to January 10th. Watch that moon here. Now I may have to see it on that. There we go. This is actually the 10th. We're on Central Standard Time. And move forward in time. That gets you to the 10th. What's happening over here? It's our blood moon that I talked about. On 1 BC, that's 0 is always 1 BC. January, it's the 10th. Convert it to off Central Standard. So let's see here. Go backwards. Kind of missed it there. Here it comes. There's an eclipse going on. There's it more. You see the eclipse. So there's our blood moon on the 10th. And that would have signified bad things for Herod the Great, for what he did to the children, to the 2-year-old males. Bad things. Okay. That's what I wanted to go through in this video. I hope I've done more to convince you that what we're dealing with is real here, going through this timeline. Alright. Watch me try to stop this.